So recently, there's been a theory going around saying that the next killer for Chapter 21 could be a vampire. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at that. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the potential of a vampire original killer coming into Dead by Daylight. We've made a video previously talking about licensed characters that could potentially come into the game, and you guys absolutely loved that, so I might make a follow-up to that one. However, today we're going to be talking about a theory that's been circulating the internet, talking about Dracula, or a vampire killer, coming into the game. Now, there's already been some theories about this, so I'm going to link all of the sources in the description. I actually heard about this theory a very long time ago from Lumi. She was telling me about it because she saw it on a Facebook post, and then slowly but surely, everything got some traction, and a lot of people spoke about it, so I want to also give them credit. The links will be down in the description. But with that being said, let's talk about this theory. Where did it even come from, and why are people hyping this up and saying it's the next chapter? Recently, in the archives, we received a cutscene that shows Vlad the Impaler drinking from a chalice, and there's a bunch of bats going around, and if you guys are unfamiliar with who Vlad the Impaler was, you might know him a little bit more commonly under Vlad Dracula. I'm sure you guys know who Dracula is. According to Google, he was one of the most important rulers, and he's also a national hero of Romania. And before we jump on into this theory, according to YouTube statistics, over 50% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so please consider subscribing down below. And if you think you are, double check, because sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. With that being said, let's jump on into it. So I'm actually going to play this clip for you guys before we jump on into anything else, so let's watch. And Editor King here, take a look at the symbol that you actually see on this archive cutscene. It doesn't look too familiar, but it looks like the entity language. If we take a look at this archive clip that you guys will now see in the background with Kate Denson, we see that she also seen these specific symbols, and when she went exploring, she got sucked into the realm of the entity. So there's a high likelihood that Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad Dracula, could also be sucked into the realm of the entity, and the entity wants them, as one of the most cruel people to live, to come into the realm and punish the survivors and work for the entity. So there you go, you basically see the observer going to this castle and seeing Vlad the Impaler. Now, this castle itself is Brand Castle. You can actually see the correlation between the trailer itself with one of the buildings compared to the castle that is actually in real life, and this is pretty much where Dracula stayed. Now, what makes this theory interesting is that this pretty much has nothing to do with anything else. There's nothing about characters in here that we know that we typically get with survivors. There's nothing about killers. It's simply just seemingly like a curveball, and it's not really known why this is here. However, if you think about it a little bit more, Dead by Daylight have teased chapters like this in the past. When we received information about the Alchemist, which became the Blight, it was sort of the same kind of thing going on, tied in with the Halloween event, where you got bits and pieces of information about them, and this could potentially be something that they're doing yet again, except with Vlad the Impaler. Now, the con to this is that a lot of people are saying, you know, Vlad the Impaler was a real person, and Dead by Daylight have always been very specific on not glorifying real-life killers. However, this can somewhat turn into their own spin on things with a vampire killer. At the very least, it could just be an Oni skin or something like that, or maybe it ties into something else, but the big overarching theory is that this could potentially be the new killer, as it does fit quite well, considering what Vlad the Impaler did to torture people. Now, obviously, at the beginning of this clip, you see a lot of bats going around, and this is tied more into Dracula and that lore, so it could set up the potential for a vampire killer to come into the game. The power that people are speculating is obviously that this person would transform into a little bat, fly around, and go about doing their business and murdering the survivors. So this is definitely a far-fetched theory, but it does make a lot of sense. And if you take a look at the charm that we actually have featured in-game, you would notice that we have the Blood Moon charm. Now, typically the charms that we get kind of mean something. They tie into previous events or previous things, but this one is, again, kind of just out there, and it says an ominous sign dripping in blood. So, when you put the lore of DBD together and what's canon, we clearly see the Observer going to this castle. We see Vlad the Impaler drinking out of a chalice of blood, hinting at the whole Dracula thing and the vampire thing. We see all the bats. Now we have this Blood Moon charm in the game. It really looks like DBD is hinting towards us getting a vampire or Dracula type chapter towards the future, or at least something to do with this. Now we gotta remember that DBD is notorious at straying us off the path of what is to come. So this could possibly mean we could get a licensed Dracula, or just a, fan-made creation of Dracula or a vampire as it's not licensed, or it could just be a complete curveball and we won't know for months and months and months of what this chapter really is. Now, as always, this is pretty much just a theory, not a game theory, a regular theory about what the chapter could be. It's very loose. There's not much more information that we can go off of, but I'm sure you could start diving in and making a bunch of connections for yourself. Let me know what you guys actually think about this theory. Personally, I think a vampire coming into Dead by Daylight would be fantastic. DBD have pretty much gotten most of the iconic licensed characters, and I think it's time for them to take a look at some of the more iconic, just natural killers, like werewolves and vampires and things like that. We've seen them do something like this, where we had creatures come into the game as legendary skins. We obviously got Krampus for the Trapper and a Minotaur for the Oni, but then we also seen characters come on in that are actual full-blown killers that are just based around lore and things like that, so such as the Oni. So there's always a chance that they do bring in folklore or whatever an iconic type of killer would be into the game. We'll have to wait and see, but it is an interesting theory nonetheless, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know what you think. Do you think we could see a vampire killer coming into DBD? I know it would be really awesome. It would be doing a lot of people would be very happy with that. Again, take a look at all the sources cited down below, and you guys can expand upon this theory for yourselves. But my friends, that is going to do it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.